And a happy new year to you. Welcome to 2023. Figured I'd get this one up on the second, give you a day to really rest off that hangover. I think I'm projecting. I did that for myself. But with the new year comes a new list of the top 10 anticipated movies for that year. That would be 2023. As usual, for these anticipated videos, no need for the pomp and circumstance, the countdown, the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We're just gonna go through it. Also, these aren't in order of anticipation. They're generally speaking in order of release date. And even then, not really, but kind of. You know what I mean. Not gonna take up too much of your time. Let's just get into it. Starting off this list, that's John Wick Chapter 4. John Wick is an incredible series of action films, which, if you look at the director, it's very purposefully done, but they give us that Matrix flavor that the Matrix Resurrections absolutely did not give us. The John Wick trilogy thus far is an amazing trilogy. I watch it every now and then. Just had a friend come in to visit from out of town. We watched it. Just as amazing this time as it was the last time and the time before that. Actually, more so. I even dressed as John Wick for Halloween. That's your guys' fault right there. I was like, okay, I get enough of the comments. I guess I'll just lean into that. It was a lot of fun. The costume crushed, so I guess thank you for that. And yeah, point is, John Wick Chapter 4. Can't wait to see it. Next on the list, Scream 6. It's Ghostface Takes Manhattan, just like Jason did all those decades before. Look, it can be argued that the Scream franchise has lasted far past the expiration date. Counter argument though, the Scream movies are far more entertaining than they should be past the 5th installment. It is true that you can tell Scream 5 had someone else at the helm, whereas Screams 1 through 4 felt like Wes Craven, because that was the situation. But those Ghostface killings in Scream 5 were savage, and if Scream 6 brings me more of that, I'm totally there. Next up, this is more of a fingers crossed, I really hope this is good kind of entry. That's the Super Mario Brothers movie. Look, we all love Mario. I'm going into this movie like most other people, where it's like, I really want to walk out of a Super Mario Brothers movie going, that was one of the best movies I've seen in a while. Yeah, you can say what you want about the voice, Chris Pratt as Mario, how, why? Well, because he's Mr. Star-Lord and he's gonna sell more tickets. But I will admit I have other motivations for rooting for this film, because if this movie crushes, I will be one step closer to getting what I've wanted forever, which is a Legend of Zelda movie and a Metroid movie. That's right, from doughy-eyed optimist nerd Jeremy all the way to grumpy old man energy and every year in between, what I have wanted in life. Legend of Zelda movie and Metroid movie. And if this movie sucks, if it bombs, I'm never getting that. Again, also want to walk out of a Mario movie going, that was amazing. So there is that. Next up, the first of 2 movies I can think of on this list that were on last year's anticipated, then they got postponed, and well, now they're on this year's. Seems a little unfair, absolutely, but I do things like that to keep people from thinking my list is anywhere around the realm of, I don't know, professional. Spider-Man Across the SpiderVerse. Look, based on the merits of the first movie, I'm going to look forward to the sequel. I do get a little worried at the fact that they're really talking up, hey, look at all the Spider-Mans we have in this movie, and I'm just there going, but is it a good character film? Because that's what I liked about the last one. If for nothing else, that soundtrack should be badass. Because again, it was in the previous film. If you liked Into the Spider-Verse, don't know how you're not looking forward to Across the Spider-Verse. And the second movie that was on last year's anticipated list, that's now on this year's anticipated list, figured I might as well put them back to back. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. The Mission Impossible movies, actually a lot like the John Wick movies. They're films that are amazing action movies that are not part of a comic book IP. Also, Tom Cruise is still at it, and he's proven with Top Gun Maverick that he's a name and an actor that people will show up for. Granted, if the movie's good, but still. I'll say since Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, because I feel like that was the, hey, let's bring Mission Impossible back movie. From Ghost Protocol to now, in over a decade, these Mission Impossible movies have not let me down. Next on the list, I just need to say this one thing, and that's it. Yeah, Christopher Nolan's making a biopic about Oppenheimer, starring Cillian Murphy. Done. I can move on from there, but I guess I'll elaborate a little more. Christopher Nolan's one of those directors when he's coming out with a movie that year, I will put it on my anticipated. He also filmed it in black and white. You just see the guy's love for cinema in his production. That recording of Oppenheimer talking about him recalling when the bomb went off, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. Yes, that soundbite was played in the Linkin Park album, A Thousand Suns. I want to see the story of the life of the person who became that man. Next up, everyone's favorite senior citizen kicking ass. No, I'm not talking about Tom Cruise twice. Talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did suck balls. And I'm a sucker for a comeback story, It's like I'm rooting for this movie like people in the movie Iron Will were rooting for will. Like, we root for Rudy. We're all in the stadium instead of Rudy. It's Indy. You know, like, we want Indiana Jones to be good. And I just can't look past the fact that James Mangold's the one in the director's chair. He's been kicking ass lately. Plus, you got Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. On paper, there are things that work. But again, you do that sequel after 30 years kind of thing. It's either Top Gun Maverick, or it's Jurassic World Dominion, or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I hope this is good. Please don't suck. Next, in doing my due diligence in looking into the movies that are coming out this year that I might not have heard about, yes, I researched a bit. But in looking into the movies of 2023, did you know that Michael Mann is coming out with a biopic about Enzo Ferrari in which Adam Driver is playing the assassin himself? Yeah, I didn't until now, and now I know. And now I'm like, well, that has to be on here. Look, Michael Mann, for me, has made hit and miss throughout his career, absolutely. But when it's a hit, it's a fucking hit. I'm hoping those years aren't behind him, because just in concept, this sounds amazing. I suppose that's the fun of doing an anticipated video, because you don't know. You don't really know what you're talking about, and you're allowed to absolutely have that be the case. It's no doubt an interesting story to be told, but if it's good... Next up, Killers of the Flower Moon. What's that, you ask? Well, I am glad you asked. It's a film coming out based off of a book, which is the telling of a true story, which is an interesting way of saying it's Martin Scorsese's next film starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. Also Brendan Fraser. Did I pronounce it right? Look, I'm not going to posture. I don't know much about the story other than what I read in looking into the movie for the sake of this video. But I do come from a time, an era, a mindset. You can call this grumpy old man energy if you want. But I come from the place where Martin Scorsese coming out with a new film was an event, and it still is to me. The talent behind the camera and in front of the camera alone, no way this wasn't gonna be on the list. I hear that Apple TV Plus has this one. I've actually seen that a lot in a lot of the movies I was looking into this year. It's like 2023 is Apple TV's big move to be like, come to our streaming service. Point is, after all these years, I might actually have to bite the bullet now and get Apple TV in order to watch this. Hope this doesn't get delayed till 2024. Or some shit. It's like the last couple years have made me paranoid that half of these are gonna be. And we're at number 10, the last on this list. That would be Dune Part 2, or Dune Chapter 2, or Dune 2. Whatever they're gonna call it. Point is, when I heard Denis Villeneuve was doing Dune, I was like, that is what we call a perfect marriage. And after watching Part 1, I feel that faith was properly placed. So I've been waiting for Part 2, and time has flown. It's coming at the end of the year. And now we have Austin Butler and Christopher Walken joining the cast. Look, I'm gonna say this, only because I believe it's true. Dune is the best on-screen Warhammer we've ever gotten. And yeah, I can't wait for Chapter 2, Chapter 3, however long he keeps doing them. And that's it. That's my list. Some I'm excited for, some I'm curious about, others I'm crossing my fingers, hoping they're good. But in any case, that's my list of my 10 anticipated films of 2023. Thanks again for joining me at the beginning of another year. I'll try not to bore you as the year goes on, but I'm only part of the conversation. Your 10 anticipated movies of 2023, or 5, or 1, however many, whatever they are, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.